Okay, the farmer and I are on our porch. We literally stopped in the middle like squirrels and said, we have to share this. I was going to do the Vital Farms and the Lady Bee Farms because I feel like the Vital Farms is really a comparable product, if you will. So something that we noticed when we changed from conventional feed over to our new Scratch and Peck's feed, which we have exclusively fed since January, the first of the year, we started noticing, it took like about 2 months, our eggs started looking a little bit paler. They're still amazing. I have one here I can share and show. That's Lady Bee Farms. So good. But we didn't know why. What's going on? What is for the change? So the farmer started to do a little bit of research. And what did you find out? What has happened? Why are our eggs no longer this crazy orange color that you look at and think this is perfect? Why is that? What happened?
Well, yeah, it's first of all, simple Google check will show you that what the chicken eats has a lot to do with the yolk, and so, or the yolk has a lot to do with what they eat. And so if you Google what causes a yellow or darker yellow yolk, and the first thing that'll come up is corn and soy. And
say what?
Yeah, so
always thinking it's pasture raised, right? I even have a little note card here that we and the general public is informed to believe that a pasture raised egg is going to have a deeper, richer orange because it's foraging, right? And there is an added value to them foraging.
Yeah.
But our girls forage and get bugs and get organic scraps and all the things. So what that component is really...
Well, and I think it's interesting. Go to the store and buy a cheap white egg for $4 a dozen or whatever they are, and you'll see they have this gorgeous yellow yolk. I think you're going to see a difference in the white, but we can get into that later. And why? It's because they are fed primarily corn and soy because it's plentiful and it's cheap. And so when you take a chicken... and we're going to actually experiment with a few different things. We're looking at, we're going to do cayenne, or not cayenne, but crushed red pepper anyway.
Yeah, red pepper flakes, which is so good anyways. Just
it's like a natural antibiotic for the chicken anyways. Yeah. And so...
and he really wants to do carrots. So we're going to take one of our flocks and we're going to do an abundance of grated carrots. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see if we can change the color of the yolk. So yes, you can. And read. If you want to geek out, read about if your chicken is foraging on a lot of greens, what happens? The integrity of your egg is what really, really matters. You want your bird to eat grit, that is the teeth in the gizzard. You want your bird to have oyster shells, that's the calcium. And you want your birds to have options and you want them to forage. That's the main thing. But I think that what we are looking at is when we pull the camera around, if you didn't look at the cartons, you would never know. Lady Bee Farms versus Vital Farms. Yeah. You would never know the difference of our eggs on the outside. But then we open them. And I think it's so fun to get to see.
Yeah, it really is. Do you want to show them right now?
Yeah, we'll turn the camera around. At first glance, you can see our shells are a little bit darker than theirs. Here, I'll bring them together. But they both have a meat spot. Ours are a little bit lighter. We have always loved Vital Farms, and we actually did a little bit of research on them, and I'd encourage everyone to. They have several chicken farmers that they use to get their eggs, and so your eggs can come from anywhere. I appreciate that they're certified humane. I think that there's a lot of added value. They forage year round, which is a really good thing. They're pasture raised. I think it's great. Does anyone watching this know what grade A means? So there's a few things. I want to make it clear. Our son actually walked up when the farmer and I started doing this and said, "Oh, is that like a bad thing to do?" We are not putting any of these companies down. We want to inform you, absolutely inform you. So when you come over here and you look, we don't have our label on the end. We put a date label. Ours are grade AA. So what does grade A mean? Grade A means essentially it's an older egg. So what happens is you are allowed, here I'll flip you guys around. So what it really means is that you are allowed to take your eggs from market and re-candle them. And when you candle them, there's an air sac. Every single egg has an air sac. And when you candle it, put light through it, you can actually see the air sac. So our eggs are really, really fresh. And so when you have a grade AA, anytime whether you buy Lady Bee Farm eggs or not. Just get information. I think it's really cool. Your eggs are fresher. So if you buy a grade A egg, it doesn't mean it's a bad egg. It's pretty old. Probably, I'm going to guesstimate 2 to 3 months old before it's packaged and sent on a truck to leave. And so it's really interesting. You can actually sell class or grade B eggs. So do the math. Eggs last a lot longer than we're told that they do. So I found that to be a really interesting component too. I keep trying to turn myself around. You can't do both. We just feel, the farmer and I feel that it is so awesome when you have fresh vegetables, meat, eggs, and milk, that you should be able to have staples that are really, really clean. They're intended to be that way. There's no need besides feeding cheaper. These eggs here sell for, I think, $10.50 a dozen, and they're fed, I'm going to assume, a pretty cheap food. Is it awesome that they get to be on pasture and they get to forage? Absolutely. It's very ethical. But I think that marketing and those type of things sometimes can kind of lead us to something else. So I think that the most important thing that we want to share is we learn all the time, and I want you to learn with us. The second part is just get to know your farmer. I would highly, highly encourage you to get to know your farmer. We're working on our new cartons, so we're not going to have these cartons much longer. But this company, Local Hens, that's exactly what this company does. You open our carton, there's a QR code, click that, put your zip code in, and find food local to you. And find out, ask the questions that seem controversial. Is there pesticides in your processing? Are you regenerative? Does it make a farmer terrible if they don't have those practices, those and others? Absolutely not. But it's important that as the consumer, you are educated and know what you do want and what you don't want. And if you have no choice sometimes to buy conventional food, that's perfectly understandable too. But just have the insight to know what you're looking for and what you want. So there's a little tidbit from us today. I tried getting the farmer to finish the video with me. He's preoccupied. Garrett's messaging him, our cows are going to pasture. It's a wonderful time of year. So, Vital Farms, Lady Bee Farms. What do you think?
I think they're both beautiful eggs. I think it shows that I love to compare, especially about the yolk.
Isn't that fun?
Because I was a little taken back when I don't cook very much, as you might know. And so when I cracked open an egg and I'm like, that is kind of a pale yellow. That's concerning to me. Is it, should it be? So we start Googling right away. We're looking at other eggs and it's not concerning. It's a beautiful egg.
It's a beautiful thing.
And so we know our chickens and how they're raised and what they eat and what they don't eat. And what they don't eat is a lot of corn and a lot of soy.
Right. So. And they used to. And we spent good money on that expensive feed that we refer to as McDonald's. Yeah. And it does taste food. Hey, let's be honest. Food that we eat that's been fed corn tastes really good.
We'll go to the grocery store and start looking at. So I'm going around the kitchen. I'm going through the cupboards and I'm reading ingredients, and everything has corn and soy in it, which you probably know. And so.
And then the other thing people might say, well, what about the corn? So. We fed corn, and it heats the girls up in the winter. It has it's a fueling thing.
I think if you are sourcing the corn correctly, it's not genetically modified. A little bit of it's probably okay. But it's just something.
But it's going to be so expensive, and is it necessary?
Absolutely
It is not necessary. I think that's the biggest component to know is that it's a filler, and I think that's where we have to get educated. So as we get educated, we want to share with people that want to know. Yeah. We're learning too. Mm-hmm. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's really tricksy out there. The marketing.
We'll continue to learn more about chickens and eggs, and we'll share our info as we gather it.
And then people can just pick what they like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome sauceum.
That's America.
Say it again?
I said that's America.
Get to know your farmer. What's he doing today? Where's he going now? Quickly, we must quickly see Frankie Baby. Frankie Baby has stayed home today, which we appreciate. We do appreciate it. And this is our little workstation here at the farmhouse. We're actually working in the farmhouse today, but to even get it a little bit more real, there are so many opportunities for us to influence people, and I think it's such an opportunity that the farmer and I have to share what that really looks like. So, farmhouse, Vital Eggs, versus Lady B farm eggs, both pasture raised, fed differently. So you choose, you decide. Our eggs are a little bit less than their eggs. And I think the biggest thing that comes to my mind is the color of our yolks. Almost the same. Theirs are a little bit darker, but grade A. Grade A, my friends. Get informed, Google that. Grade A, grade AA, grade B. Signing out now.